Well, hello and welcome to Qlik Spotlight. My name is John Sands, and I've got the very great pleasure to have in front of me on the spotlight Kate Strachnyi. Now, Kate is the founder of A Story by Data. Now, I will not try and explain what they do because I think it's better now that we get Kate involved and she can explain exactly what they are. And also, Kate, if you could, welcome, by the way, welcome to Qlik Spotlight. And can you just give us a little bit about yourself and what the mission is for Story by Data? Why is it there?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the spotlight.
Pleasure.
I'm really excited to chat with you today, and I will start by introducing myself. Like you said, Kate Strachnyi, founder of Story by Data, and I'll spend a minute and tell you guys what Story by Data really does and what the mission is. It all started about 4 or 5 years ago when I kind of fell in love with data and fell in love with building communities in the data science space. And it's transitioned in terms of what we actually deliver to our clients or communities. But at the moment, we're focused on helping the data community in several ways, including a Humans of Data Science video podcast. There is a dedicated challenge, also focused on helping companies that are innovating in the data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning space share their message, right? So picture an AI company that's just come up with the most amazing product for AI in a specific
Yeah.
industry. It's helping them get their message out to their audience. That's the focus.
Okay. So you mentioned just then a human of data science. Can you just dig a little deeper into that and explain what that means?
Yes, absolutely. So this was inspired from, there's an initiative called Humans of New York.
Yeah.
And it's basically a guy who walks around and interviewed people in New York, and then he went abroad to different states, different countries, and focuses on different issues. And yeah, so that was the inspiration. But Humans of Data Science has been around for a little over 2 years at this point, and it's a project where I interview anyone who works with data really at all levels. So I've
Yeah.
had some more famous people on the show, and then I've had people that are still in school studying the craft. So it really gives you a perspective from different industries, different regions, countries, and so forth.
Now, I mean, I've presented many times to audiences on data, and the whole data thing has really gained momentum, and not only the movement of data, but the size of data and what's out there. Do you think that people will still know about data, still have enough of an emphasis on how important it can be, not just for organizations, but actually anyone, who's living in this world at the moment needs to get a handle on data, don't they?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I actually just launched an initiative called Data Literacy for Kids, where I'm focusing on kids ages 4 to 10. So I'm starting with our future in mind, right? Just getting them up to speed at what is data and how do you become data literate. But you're right, it applies to just about everyone in any industry, or no matter how small or big the company is.
Yeah, because their lives are more and more run by data, aren't they? And we're gathering so
Yeah.
much information. I mean, now you can get a fridge that stores data, you get a toothbrush that stores data. Everything does that, and we sometimes I have to sort of have a sit back sometimes and say, yes, we can, but should we be storing all this data? Because there is also a huge amount out there, and what they call, the term data lake. I remember. Someone saying to me, Paul Barth actually, who came over to us from Podium Data about not just a data lake, but a data swamp, because we are
Yeah.
storing so much stuff, but are we using it? Are we getting what we can out of it?
Yeah, I think companies are definitely not taking advantage of all the data that they're hoarding. And in a lot of cases, they're storing and hoarding data that's not necessarily useful. There was a quote out there that said more data is not necessarily better
No,
because,
no.
like you said, it's a swamp. You have all that garbage in there that's clouding you from, preventing you from actually uncovering some key insights. So it's the quality of data definitely matters, not just the quantity.
Yeah, I use an analogy which I've used many times, and I don't think I'll ever stop doing it. We have a thing called well, I call it my man drawer, and it's actually down by the side of me now. You can't see it, but everything that I put in there is something that I think I may want or may need at some point. So I've got a
Yeah.
well, let me pull that out. I've got a really old mobile phone in there. I've got an old Garmin thing. I've got some adapters, some batteries I think may be useful.
Yeah.
There is so much stuff in there, and companies will do that with the data, feeling, well, if I chuck it away, then
I
I'm
might
gonna
need it
need it
later.
tomorrow. Yeah, I'll
Yes,
call it a person
exactly.
drawer. Let's call it a person drawer rather than
Yeah.
a man drawer. So
Yes.
data is important. We know that, or well, most people know. And there's Jordan Morrow. You've spoken to Jordan at Qlik, who's going around the data literacy side of thing and making sure people are literate in the data and understand what they're doing with it, which is important as well. But then we've got the next journey we go on. Once we've got the data, we know we want it. We know it's data we need. How do we visualize it? And then we're actually getting into another potential minefield, aren't we, with visualizations as well? So we get that wrong quite often. In my time, I've seen that got wrong quite often. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting you mentioned Jordan Morrow. He's actually co-authoring the data literacy for kids book with
Oh,
me. So
fantastic.
we're chatting later today to
Ah,
get that
nice.
finalized.
Yeah.
Yes. But to answer your question of, where can data visualization kind of take you? So you're like you said, we're data literate. We've got the data. We have access. It's, let's say, assume it's good data.
Mm.
Now, in order to present it or communicate it, we need to, for the most part, visualize it because humans are just not great at looking at, pages and pages of Excel
Yeah.
spreadsheets or databases and trying to understand what we're looking at. So, enter data visualization. And I think it's, tools like Qlik, Tableau, and Power BI that have made
Mm.
it extremely simple for people that might not be as technically
Yeah.
savvy
Yeah.
to get the data, click one button to get the data into your tool and then click a few more buttons and you have a chart. Now, that's all fine and well and great for
Mm.
those who have a good understanding of the data and they can see that, something that looks crazy is, you understand the meaning behind why
Yeah.
that thing looks crazy and you don't just close up shop because you saw, a little blip in your data point.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen, right? Like an example could be if you upload a spreadsheet, let's assume it has 100 rows
Mm.
of sales or losses, whatever it might be, and then you have a row that's called total. But a lot of cases, the tool that you're using, you could put that data into your data visualization tool and create a bar chart, let's say by category. It will give you like a huge blip of the total as one of the
Yeah.
data points because it's not yet smart enough to say, okay, that must be the total. Let's go ahead and remove that.
Mm.
So you kind of need that human element of data analysts or experts that can look at the data and clean it before it even goes to the tool. But yeah, data visualization is great for helping to tell the story, to communicate the message, as long as it's done right.
Yeah, and I've seen some horrible visual. I remember when people were using 3D bar charts and stuff because they could. Or you see something where they've got a huge data visualization and it is so busy. There is so much stuff in it. It's almost like the person is showing off and saying, "Look, I've
Yes.
got all these tools, so I'm going to use them." And then they use them on these data, data pictures that they put out there, and your mind just blows up, doesn't it? Because you
Yes.
cannot take that all in.
Yes, yes. Just because you can't, visualize
Yeah.
something, that doesn't mean you should. A lot of times, just a number could serve as a
Mm.
data visualization, right? If you're trying to show total sales for the year, you don't need a bar chart unless you're, trying to show it by category, and you don't need a line chart unless you're trying to show some sort of trending or seasonality in your data. So you have to be really cautious in terms of what types of charts you're using to represent the specific types of data and
Yeah.
also the number of things you throw at someone. Like you said, there could be 5 different charts in a view and they all look gorgeous and,
Yep.
maybe they have a great color scheme, but you're looking at it and you have no idea what you're looking at. It's
Mm.
pretty, it's pretty, but you don't know what it means.
Yeah. But it isn't always. I mean, I've heard a great acronym which is keep it simple, stupid, or KISS.
Yes,
And
kiss. Keep
sometimes
kissing.
people should be, yeah, should be listening to that. I think because you're right, and as a race, as a human race, we are we are very visual people, and we like to use that to be able to interpret. And as you made a good point there, if someone puts a table on the screen and you've got 1,000 data points in that table,
Yeah.
you would struggle to do anything with that. But if you then got a bar chart, not a 3D one, by the way, just a normal bar chart, and
Yes.
you've got that, you can make assumptions from that rather than having to see every single data point.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I'm glad you said 3D bar chart, not 3D pie chart, because I believe pie charts are bad on by themselves, but when they're 3D pie charts, they're just double bad.
Yes, yes, I did. I remember one, and this is the Qlik visualization that we did, and so it's not we're not averse to getting it wrong as well sometimes. But they had a pill pie chart. So it looked like a pill and it was all curved over. It looked lovely, but gave nothing back to the viewer, I may say. So this
Yeah.
now this isn't on the question sheet, so I apologise, Kate, but I think it sits in quite nicely with this journey that we're going on. And there's a big focus for almost all companies out there offering a service like Qlik is around AI, and
Hmm.
around that intelligent side of being able to suggest things to people to give them a helping hand. What have you seen in your journey around different companies and around the technology that we're seeing in this space now? What has come to light most to you in that area?
Well, actually, this was a Qlik product that I fell in love with. I believe it was in the October, November timeframe of
Mm,
2019, where I was sitting at one of the data revolution tours,
yeah.
and forget who it was, but somebody was presenting up, I believe from the Qlik side, and it's either called Insight Bot or something else, but
Ah,
where you're
yes. Yeah.
able to
Mm,
type in kind of sales by category, and it tells you, okay, did you want a bar chart of this, or
yeah.
maybe you also want to see a view into your quarterly sales. So I thought that was really cool, and I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think people are, again, this is from my experience, are worried about AI, and you got the old thing about, people, it's taking going to take over their jobs, but it's more of a sort of a voice on your shoulder, isn't it? Just giving you
Yeah.
other hints as well. So we've gone on this journey so far. We've talked about AI, we've talked about big data, we've talked about visualizations. But the one thing I have seen and experienced, and I'm sure is going about now, is you can have the best tool in the world, you can have the most intuitive interface in the world, but if your people don't use that, what's the point? Yeah. So
Yes.
what would
Yes.
you say? What would you say if you could speak to someone maybe starting out on this journey? What would you say to people that one of the most important things around user adoption that you have to get right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really important topic, and I see as user adoption from two different standpoints. One is somebody who's working with data and needs to and your goal is to make them use the
Yeah.
tool and show them how great it is. And two is user adoption from a consumer perspective where people are used to receiving PowerPoints and PDF
Yeah.
reports, and now they're receiving a link where it's scary and they don't know what it means,
Mm.
right? So, and I think the solution is kind of the same for both of those problems is education and showing them how to use it. And I've had to do this quite a lot in my work
Mm.
where I would sit somebody down and I'll start with the user perspective and ask them to show me what they currently do in terms of pulling reports, and in most cases it was Excel, and then I would show them how you can do something like this with the data
Yeah.
visualization tool, and they're blown away in seconds. It's not even minutes, right? Because it,
Mm.
it takes you seconds to upload the file, and then you show them that they don't have to repeat this process every time. All they really need to do is update the Excel file or click refresh on a database, depending on where the source data is housed. But I think it's really just show them and wow them, because it really is a wow factor for those that
Yeah.
have not used it before. Show them how quick and easy it is to go from a bar chart to a line chart, or change colors, or apply a theme, and that applies to all the data visualization tools that I've worked with, and I've tried
Yeah.
probably all of them at this point.
Yeah, and it can be. You spoke about Excel. Then
Yeah.
people are creatures of habit, aren't they? And they get very attached to their Excel spreadsheets.
Yes.
very attached, and that's all about familiarity as well. They know, they understand what they're doing there, and I don't care who you are, that jump over to something completely different can be a bit of a shock. And I remember going out to a customer back when I was in pre-sales, and it was a pharmaceutical company, and they had this spreadsheet that they did all their work on. And I'll tell you what, Kate, it was amazing. It did so
Yeah.
much. It had all these macros firing off stuff, doing stuff, and I was almost asking the question, why am I here? Why are we talking to you? So
Yeah.
I dug down a little bit deeper, and I found out that actually that spreadsheet, he had to do a report every month on that spreadsheet, and it took him a
Mm.
week to
Wow.
change that spreadsheet to make it so that he could do all the work he was doing on. And he was, yeah, and this is something you would have come across. He was also the only person that knew how to maintain that spreadsheet. So if he went there, there was an issue. So
Yes.
that is also something around delivering to the business in a timely manner and in something that they can consume as well. And you're finding that people are you still finding that kind of person that I just spoke about now when you're in your travels, or are you finding that less and less now?
I think it's less and less, but I definitely still find people
Mm,
that are wary of using the tool because, like you just explained, they're not sure what's happening behind the scenes. So I think if you can show them in comparison what your first month's report, or if this is something they do
yeah,
on a weekly basis, do it using the tool and your regular Excel to compare the numbers. And I've
side by
actually
side.
done
Yes,
that
yes.
usually with the business leaders to
Mm.
show them, okay, this ties out to what you've been seeing on a monthly basis, but this takes, minutes versus days to
Yeah,
put
that's a very
together.
good point, isn't
So,
it? Because
yeah,
that around the confidence, it may be
yeah,
quick, but is it correct? So that's an excellent strategy. Just run it side by side for a little while,
yeah.
just to see, rather than pulling that sticking plaster off straight away. No, I think that's a fantastic idea. So we're going to change tack in a little while and go and start getting to know Kate a little bit more on a personal basis. But before we do that, could you just let people know if they want to get in touch with you, or they want to, talk to you, or what areas of communication can we have? Where can they find out more about Kate?
Yeah, sure. You can go to storybydata.com to just go check out the website. But in terms of contacting me, I think the best place would be on LinkedIn. This is where I
Okay.
live. It's my second home. So I respond to messages every single day throughout the day. So
So that's probably the best way to contact you then is through LinkedIn.
yes. Hmm.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And as I said, we're going to slightly change tack now and start asking some questions about you. So, Kate, when you're not out there and you're not spreading the joy with data visualizations and so on, and you get home, how do you relax?
I relax. I like to read. I like to run, and I've actually recently gotten back into biking and
Ah,
spending time with my kids, which is not always relaxing, but it's
no,
something that I enjoy doing.
but rewarding.
Yes, it's rewarding for
Yes.
sure. Yes, entertaining. Yeah.
Okay, because you live in New York, don't you? Is that right? Am I right in saying that, or have I got that wrong?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in New
excellent.
York. Hmm.
Okay, so cycling and so on and exercising. Okay, you said you like to read, book or Kindle?
I prefer book,
Hmm.
but sometimes I listen to audiobooks on my long
Oh,
runs, so
okay.
that
Ah,
helps.
so,
Yeah.
so not a Kindle then, more on the Audible side of
Never.
stuff. And
Not a
yeah,
single page consumed by a Kindle. I just cannot do it. I need to feel the book or hear the book. Mostly I like
yeah.
to feel the book. So,
I'm with you on that, but I do use a Kindle mostly if
yeah.
I'm traveling. If I want about 10 books with me, I just can't carry the real thing. But if I'm at
Yes, that's
home,
true.
behind me there's a whole stack of books, proper, and the smell of a book and the feel of it as you go through it, you can't get that on a Kindle.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So what film have you watched more than once, and why did you do that?
So I don't spend too much time watching television, but I
Mm.
have watched Moana on multiple
Ah, I love
occasions.
that
So
film.
I have two girls that are aged 3 and 5, and they absolutely love it. And I actually love the message it sends to,
Yeah.
females and kind of girl power and all that. So I definitely watched that one, and I probably know it by heart.
Yeah, I've singing "You're Welcome" many times. Once I get that in my head, then
Yes.
it just will not go away, and I like that as well. Fantastic answer. But 2020, what's in store for you? I mean, I will mention the C word. We're in a very strange, surreal environment at the moment, and I know you'll be seeing that in New York. But let's push that to one side now and say
Hmm.
2020, both on a personal and business basis. What's in store for you, Kate?
Yeah, absolutely. From business perspective, I'm just trying to help more companies get their message out in the data science and AI community. I
Mm.
plan to do several more live streams, based on the C word you just mentioned, that we
Yes.
are on lockdown. All of the conferences I was meant to attend and speak at have either been pushed out to the fall, or canceled altogether and pushed out to next year.
Mm.
So I'm kind of trying to change things up and do a lot more live streams, including panel discussions and just myself as well. In addition to that, I have a long list of books that I'm planning to read, and I'm in between reading right now. I'm working on that data literacy for kids
Of course,
book
yeah.
slash volunteer project. Also wrapping up a Mothers of Data Science book with Kristen Kerr. We've been writing that book for quite some time. We're,
Ah.
we're just putting the finishing touches on it now.
Mm.
I had planned to run marathons. I even started a
Oh,
website called We Run Marathons, but all of
yeah.
those have been also canceled or
Been shut
pushed
down,
out.
yeah. Mm.
Yes, but I plan to
Yeah.
continue my own long distance running because even though New York is kind of shut down and we're practicing social distancing, I typically run by myself. So I'll
Mm.
be social distancing while I run. That's pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah.
it.
I'm doing a 10-mile run in October, and I'm hoping things will be good. But I'm getting out there, and you're right about that. There's nothing to stop you running, and actually, if you're running, you're less likely to get hit by these molecules. Hopefully, they won't go fast enough to get you. So, and one other point I'll
Yes.
make before we say goodbye is
Hmm.
is this whole like us having the ability now to talk this way, it really, with the situation we're in, it really brings home, doesn't it, that actually we are quite lucky that we can still do this and we're not sat here twiddling our thumbs. We can still use remote tools, we can still keep in touch, we can still speak to people, no matter what, is happening at the time. And that I think is a bit of a gift, actually. We may knock technology, but this is a bit of a gift. So thank you so
Cool.
much, Kate. For spending some time with me and for getting involved in Spotlight. One last time, how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more?
I'd say find me on LinkedIn. Just look for Kate
Excellent.
Strachnyi.
Go to LinkedIn and so yeah, Kate Strachnyi and Story by Data, and they can find out about you then. And I'll say to the audience, all of you that are listening or watching, this will be available on YouTube and as a podcast, also on the internal Confluence page as well. The podcast is qlik.podbean.com, and the YouTube channel is on the Qlik channel, but it's a playlist underneath that. Thank you, Kate. Good luck and good luck with your running. Good luck with Story by Data. I hope it goes very well, and I really hope we can do this again sometime in the future.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, take care. Goodbye.